Okay then. That like both looks weird and looks kind of goofy. Both looks kind of cool and kind of goofy. Okay, so today is a short stream, like really short stream. Not gonna stream for too long. It's already late, so I kind of don't want to stream, and I'm also kind of tired. I'm already fucking out of breath because I didn't sleep well. I had hoped to stream sooner, do more sooner, but have not been sleeping great. So quick updates for those who are only on YouTube. Platinumed Resident Evil 4 or Resident Evil 9 all on my own. Yep, sorry about that. I just wasn't having fun streaming hard mode because I don't know, it just wasn't feeling fun streaming hard mode, so I didn't stream hard mode. I did it all on my own. Platinumed it, got the final puzzle, did all the extra bullshit, all done. What I'm gonna do is this is just an update stuff. What I'm gonna do is that March 22nd is Resident Evil's, I believe, 30th anniversary, and they have some sort of stream, so we're gonna stream that. And then March 28th is Kingdom Hearts 20th anniversary. Okay then, so basically, I'm gonna play Kingdom Hearts in the background to get myself fully leveled up, and then at some point I'm gonna do a stream where we do all the secret bosses. Then, at some point, around the 22nd, I'm gonna do Resident Evil 1. I have Resident Evil 1 on my computer. We're gonna play Resident Evil 1, the classic original Resident Evil, classic old days Resident Evil. We're gonna play that. I actually love the original Resident Evil, and I could probably speedrun it. So I'm probably gonna do Resident Evil 1 when it's almost the anniversary for the series, the 30th anniversary. I think that's just fitting. I actually love OG Resident Evil 1 and not remake. I do love remake, but I do love Resident Evil 1 original. Anyways, so that's the update for that. And then, of course, we're going to play Kingdom Hearts before the 20th anniversary. So, okay, that's it. Now let's get into this stuff. Okay, so we don't have much time, so I'm not going to read... I'm going to see if I can stream tomorrow. I would like to stream tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can stream tomorrow. And we're there. I'll read some of the Twitter stuff and some of the Reddit stuff and all that stuff. For this, I'm gonna try to limit it to the stuff I've written so far. So I had a decent amount written here. So I'm gonna try to focus on that and just kind of talk on that and nothing else. Okay. So sorry about that. We're not gonna read Reddit. We're not gonna read any of that other stuff. I do apologize. Like, I know you guys want me to read that stuff. If I get a chance, I will. I'm just, look at this. I'm gonna pull up a wall of text, and I'm gonna literally my ADHD that is like on crack cocaine right now because I'm so fucking tired is gonna turn up to 11. Why the fuck is this here? Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. That made me so mad. That made me irrationally mad, and I hate it. I hate that made me irrationally mad. It's so basic, bitch. Oh my god. Okay. What's the... Okay, no. Where's the thing? I'm trying to go to the I hate this so much. Blech, bleh, blah, gross. I hate this so much. So garbage. People have such garbage taste and it drives me up the wall sometimes. Okay, where's the... Okay, I'm gonna look it up. 4:15. I'm just gonna pull it up just so we prepare ahead of time. There we go. This is the serious discussion. Wow, they didn't write much. Huh. People didn't write much. That's surprising. Okay, well, there's the right much. There's the... Yeah. Yep, there it is. There's the walls of text. Mwah, mwah. Thank you for the walls of text. Mwah. Thank you for the walls of text. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Are you feeling exhausted yet? Is your ADHD kicking in yet? Mwah. Look at me kissing you goodnight. What the fuck? This is how you know I'm so fucking tired. This is how you know how I'm so fucking tired. That this shit is like burning me the fuck out. Okay. Let's get into my read of this chapter. Okay. So from the moment this chapter begins, it actually depicts a One, Kazuya's dream is a simulation. Okay? Kazuya's own dream is an amalgamation and a simulation of many different things he's experienced. This entire chapter is basically just one big simulation, and almost everything you interact with is a simulation. What do I mean? When Kazuya wakes up, when these dudes comment here, what's his deal, weirdo? Shouting like that? A guy like him shouldn't be on the road. These people are in their own simulation, and they don't even realize it. Kazuya wakes up from a dream back into his simulation. He's literally envisioning something, and then he wakes up to another fictional reality. This literally, you don't know what's real anymore. Because this is a direct reference to the Hawaiians arc. In fact, Reiji intentionally makes a bunch of nods to 1, Hawaiians, 2, the beach arc, 3, when Mami came over to Kazuya's house and almost caught Kazuya. Every single reference Reiji makes in this chapter is incredibly intentional to nod to Mami. And there is a reason for it. The whole idea of what this chapter is depicting is that everybody exists in their own simulation that they've essentially created and trapped themselves in. So, for example, these guys over here essentially said something similar to what we were saying, right? Oh, Kazuya shouldn't be on the road. Except they said this out loud while seeing him crying. Nobody comes up to him and checks on him. Not a single person. And Mami, who does, right? You think, oh, it's great that Mami does, right? Mami's better than them, right? You think Mami is better than them. Mami goes and checks on Kazuya. She cares about him. Except she never actually sees what's wrong with him, does she? She sees this, but doesn't actually check what's wrong with him. She thinks he's lonely. That's it. She just thinks he's lonely. She sees him like that and doesn't possibly correlate that it has something to do with her. Why do you think this chapter, almost every reference, every similarity, every connection, had something to do with Mami? Nearly every single reference in this chapter is connected to Mami in some way, shape, or form. It's as if she is literally the source of this pain. And it never crosses her mind. Mami sure looks like a good girl in this chapter. Oh, she's so nice. She wants to spend time with him. He's feeling lonely. She opens up about something that she did. And yet she, despite looking at him, is just as blind. Mami is in a simulation. Kazuya is in a simulation. Kazuya, enacting a dream, now goes to, literally, he's in a real life simulation, and he goes to do a simulation. It's like Inception. A matrix within the matrix. He has a dream as he's literally living a simulation. He wakes up from the dream only to go to a machine that simulates him doing something. What is happening in his dream? He's simulating talking to Chizuru and Chizuru forgiving him. Here, he's simulating driving, and it's going super well, and he seemingly gets it, and oh look, surprise, motherfucker. Just as when he heard the I love you in the dream, he woke up, he accidentally crashes into a little kid he never expected. What is going on here? There's a little subtle reference, or not even subtle reference, there's a little subtle visual storytelling happening here. He crashed into the kid because he never considered his inner child. Just as he never considered Chizuru's inner child. He's literally neglected his own self, the inner child underneath. Just as he's neglecting Chizuru's child underneath. Just as he neglected Ruka, an actual child within the story. Just as in many ways he's neglected Mami, who herself is a neglected child. You see Sumi in the cover, and what does Sumi represent? What is Sumi in the cover? Sumi is a character that represents innocence, and yet how is she depicted? Adult, mature, and you eat it up, not realizing what this cover actually means. This is but a simulation. You want the cute, adorable Sumi to dress like this. It is literally giving you exactly what you want. You don't actually see Sumi here. You see Sumi how you want to see her. She's literally a kid-like character, a character that literally represents innocence, being transformed into an adult bunny girl. Because that is an appeal. Do you see what's happening in this chapter? This chapter takes your innocence, your love, the things that are a huge part of us, and commodifies it. Turns it into a commodity. It makes it into something that you desire. What did Mommy do upon seeing Kazuya crying earlier? What did Mommy do upon seeing Kazuya cry earlier? She projected her own loneliness onto him. Why? Because she saw Kazuya being judged by everyone around him. Right? Nobody here gets Kazuya. They're chattering about him. Nobody gets him. So Mommy projects her own loneliness onto Kazuya, not recognizing what his actual problem is. Kazuya, in contrast, projects the things he desires onto Mommy, because suddenly she is exactly those things. She's cute. She's adorable. He's imagining something he's imagined with Chizuru in the past. And he's losing control of his own feelings. He imagines this thing, and it's actually something that hurts him. It never stops. It never stops. His mind literally controls him. His emotions literally define how he feels. Right? And so, in us focusing so much on the adult Sumi, you've neglected the child Sumi, just as Kazuya crashes into the kid. Mommy doesn't crash into the kid, right? Because what is Mommy doing? What is the visual storytelling happening here? What is Mommy doing? She's purely embracing her inner child and denying the adult. What Mommy needs to do is not become a child again, but to take responsibility as an adult. But she never got to be a kid. Mommy never got to be a kid. Mommy never got to have fun and let loose. So she's becoming more considerate of the child, not realizing what she truly needs to do. So whereas Kazuya is ignoring his inner child and thus not becoming an adult, Mommy is literally ignoring her adult responsibilities and being far too considerate of the child. They are inverses of each other. They are literally inverted parallels. That's what you would call them, inverted parallels. They are similar with the same exact thing they need to do, but whereas Mommy's focusing more on the kid, Kazuya is distracted like a kid. And thus he's not becoming an adult. The difference is Kazuya somewhat knows what he needs to do, and just as Mommy somewhat knows what she needs to do. So guess what? Kazuya sees Mommy as an adult. She's more mature than he is, which is a childish way of thinking. Because what does he do here? He ties his identity to his success. Since he failed on this driving thing, that means his identity is worthless. Because what have we been talking about before? Kazuya has been conditioned with the mentality of a provider. So, when he doesn't provide, when he doesn't give, when he has nothing to give, he is a failure. Because what has he done? He has coupled, yes, I chose my words very intentionally here, he has coupled himself to his ability to succeed. Right? instead of just accepting that him failing is not him being a failure. But he has intentionally tied himself to this idea of, if I fail at this, I am the worst. I don't have any worth at all. So before I get into what I've realized what the theme of this arc is, something I kind of noticed like a while back, we get into this portion with Mami. Again, this is also a nod to Chizuru, where Chizuru also gets on the balcony, and Chizuru, Mami truly is the goat of all Kanojo. So you just randomly walked in here and you were not listening. Not addressing this now. Nope. Not falling into this trap. Not falling into the chat bullshit. Kazuya looks at Mami, and again, her butt is emphasized. This is a mirror to when Chizuru came over to his place, and she was trying to reach her house, and again, her butt was kind of getting lifted up in the air, exactly like this. This is something Kazuya experienced with Chizuru. And here he is, experiencing it again. He wanted to see this again, and now he's getting to see it with Mami. Why? Mami is embracing her inner child, and Kazuya seemingly doesn't really want to deal with the adult world anymore. He wants childish things. So when Mami looks childish and he feels older than her, it's literally something he desires. Kazuya, in many ways, wants to be in a position of power. Because he's conditioned himself, he wants to be in a position of power. So you'll notice something interesting here. Look at this. I guess it's scary being alone at night and having some guy suddenly appear behind you. The way she acted just now felt so girly. Look at him. Look at the darkness creeping in. Look at how he actually likes that she's girly. He likes that Mami is conforming to his interpretation of girliness. Yeah. He wants a girly girl. And Mami fit that perfectly. Mami, who looked adult earlier, suddenly looks really girly. Okay. This wording and this delivery and this presentation is incredibly intentional. I'm going to read you something Minnie said last chapter. Her looks clash with her innocence. It's totally unfair. Is she even real? Her looks clash with her innocence. It's unfair. Is she even real? What's happening here? She's a waifu. She's everything you want. Isn't she? She's literally everything you desire. Look at Kazuya's heartbeat. He's been conditioned to want a waifu. Not a partner, not a relationship he's going to actually work on. He wants an escape. He wants something that will fulfill his deepest desires. What is the cover of this chapter? A bunny girl. What is a bunny girl? A bunny girl is literally the thing you desire. They are literally objects of desire. That is what a bunny girl is. She is literally dressed to attract your eyes because you like a bunny girl. It is enticing. She's literally dressed with the outfit of lust. We literally correlate rabbits and bunnies to lust. You literally desire Sumi. This chapter gaslit the ever-living fuck out of you because it gave you exactly what you wanted and you clapped like fucking seals. And it looks at you and it tells you it's doing this. But just like Kazuya, you can't resist. You love waifus. You love the innocence. You desire the innocence. You want this innocence. You want this thing that makes you feel good. You want to ignore the messed up shit in the background. You want an escapism from your problems. You want to be forgiven for all of your sins and not deal with anything that has happened. It is so much easier to avoid the conflict in the world around you. It is so much easier to escape reality and not confront what is actually happening to you. So much easier than to actually make real change. That is the theme of this arc. This arc is about accepting the end because in accepting the end, you accept change. These characters are not changing for a very simple reason. They don't want to. In particular, Kazuya doesn't want to. He's afraid of change. Because in accepting something is going to change, you accept it is going to end. It is not going to be the same anymore. Something is going to be different. Something is not going to be the same. It's not gonna, you're gonna lose some form of your relationship. So what have we seen Kazuya do? He's literally in a living dead relationship with Ruka. He literally refuses to let it end. And because he refuses to let it end, Ruka cannot escape this cycle. She's trapped. She can never get out. She can't think straight. She can't make her own rational decisions anymore. She's trapped. And she's not going to figure out what she wants until she's fucking rejected. And I mean rejected, like shut the fuck down. Right? You think Kazuya never rejected Ruka, did he? Think about it very carefully. He rejected her at the very beginning of the series, but he bowed down. And he eventually gave in to her crying. And then he gave in to her crying again. And again. And again. You have to let them cry. You have to let it go. Now you go to Mommy. Mommy straight up asks him, Ayo, do you love me still? Doesn't answer. Does not let it end. In not letting it end, he has perpetuated a cycle. And thus Mommy is able to act like a kid under this false hope, this false premise. And she's okay with it too, because she too is escaping her own problems. Then you go to Chizuru. He's literally trapped her in an endless loop. He wants to date her, yet he doesn't see her. He doesn't text her. He keeps waiting for her to find her answer, but never actually talks to her and helps her find it. She has to do it all on her own. And she literally says, I don't know what to do. It doesn't feel right to just date him, because guess what? He's almost demanded that she finds her answer before she date him. He's pretty much fucking demanded that. That she date him under the premise that she found her answer and that she can be with him and all that bullshit. So she's literally trapped. And people get upset at Chizuru not realizing how Kazuya is the reason she's trapped and can't find her answer. Because he literally will not free her. Cut to Chizuru. What has Chizuru done? She's seemingly accepted the end. She rejected Kazuya, knowing full well what the ending means. Even though it hurt her deeply, she was still able to do it. She has accepted that her grandparents are gone. She still talks to them, but they're gone. And she knows they're gone. They're just deep in her heart somewhere. And she communicates to them as if they're somewhat still around. But she knows they're gone. Then you cut to Umi. Rejected Umi. Ended that relationship. Nope. Done. Goodbye. He tries to push further? No. Seemingly gets a call from Kazuya, is ready for things like to go or change in some way, shape, or form. They don't change. Still trapped in a cycle. You see the problem. Chizuru has accepted the end, Kazuya has not. Okay. Kazuya here reenacts his past. What does he do? He steps into the car of shadows, of secrets. He goes into a dark area. Reishi has been intentionally using a repeating motif of darkness. When Ruka goes into Kazuya's place, she closes the curtains. It's all dark. When Kazuya tells Minnie about what happened with Ruka, it's at night. It's all dark outside. When when Kazuya was with Chizuru in the shed where this happened, it was dark. When Kazuya had his lewd dreams about Chizuru, it was dark. And here he is, stepping into a dark car at night, hidden. And the teaser for next chapter is, close it. Because you literally see a door open. Close the door. Literally hide. And what do you see? It's a repeating motif of being hidden in shadows. Last chapter, when you look at Minnie, what's happening with Minnie? She's literally shadowed out the whole time. She's literally in shadows the whole time, trapped in her own darkness. So here's Kazuya repeating the past, knowing full well what this might be. Right? He steps into the car, into a personal space with mommy, and willfully ignores what this might result in. Oh, look. As he's done many times before, he slips. He doesn't think clearly. He's too busy moving to actually react, and he slips and falls onto mommy. Okay? Out of context, what does this look like? Sure does look like these two are hitting the couch. Sure does look like it, doesn't it? Sure looks like these two are hitting the couch. Yeah, well, these two are going to town in that car. What are you doing over there? That element of out of context, an intentional lack of context, is a big motif of the current arc. Darkness, context, and visuals and how things appear is important. The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear. And what do you see here? It sure does look a certain particular way. It sure does look a very certain particular way. What? Oh no, I lost my balance. How did we get into this position? Gee, it's almost like you didn't think this through. I feel like I'm touching all the places. We've never been this close before, not even when we were dating. Sorry, are you hurt? I'm going to get off now. But mommy doesn't let him get off. She doesn't want him to. Kazuya did the same thing he did with Ruka to mommy. He conditioned mommy that it was okay to physically interact with him. He gave her all of the signals that it was okay. Then an accident happens. And that accident acts as an opportunity. What happened with Chizuru? A similar accident happened, and yet again it was an opportunity. What he doesn't realize is the reason these accidents always result in something like this is simply because they reflect him taking initiative. But he's not taking initiative, it's happening by accident. It's showing that if he actually took fucking initiative, something would happen. The change he might desire could happen. And here he is, getting this result with mommy, not realizing he's essentially been giving her all the signals he might be interested in her. This didn't just magically occur because mommy is serious or because she's doing this stuff. It's not happening because it's Chizuru's fault. None of this is Chizuru's fault. This is happening because all Kazuya has done is give her the signals that he's fucking interested in her. And not actually setting the boundaries between them. So while people are quick to blame Chizuru, what they're not realizing is that you're not seeing the actual fucking issue with what Kazuya is doing. You're placing the blame on Chizuru because you want to see Chizuru as a villain. You're not realizing how Kazuya is giving all these girls the signals that he's interested in them. And that's why these things are happening. Not because Chizuru is just some fucking idiot who's never considered this. Kazuya is the fucking idiot who's never considered this. Because he's out here giving all these girls signals that he's interested in them. But isn't it up to him to decide if he wants to be with Chizuru or with some other girl? So instead, people are like, no, it's Chizuru's fault because she never committed. Of course, this was going to happen to her. But he says he loves Chizuru, yet here he is giving signals to these other women. Now, you can only give the excuse of, oh, he's just dense. He's just dense. You can only give that excuse for so long until the reality shows itself that, no, he's doing this, and that Chizuru, and that this was only inevitably going to happen. Because even if he what Rage is trying to highlight to you here is that even if Kazuya had dated Chizuru, these events were inevitable. Even if Kazuya started dating Chizuru, this was always going to happen. Regardless. Why? Because he doesn't set the ground rules. He doesn't draw lines. So this was always going to happen. And Ruka perfectly reflects this. He thought Ruka would just magically give up if he told her he was dating Chizuru. That's not a rejection. Right? Chizuru wasn't dating Umi, she still got him to give the fuck up. Okay, Kazuya has to do the same thing. Yeah, cool, you're not dating Chizuru, so you have to still reject this person. You can't keep letting so Ruka makes advances on Kazuya. Kazuya makes advances on Mami, doesn't realize he's doing this. And these things happen. So this is the problem, is like, you start to question, is Kazuya even serious? And it's not that just he's not serious, it's that he's not aware. He doesn't want to be aware. It's so much easier than to not be aware of what you're doing. And so, Mami, being tempted by this fictional reality by the end of the chapter, says, can you stay like this just a little longer? Under the false hope that this could be real. So just as a mirror to Kazuya's own dream in the very beginning of the chapter, here is Mami falling into her own little dream and her own little escapism. This chapter is literally about escapism and desires. You turn to your desires to escape your problems. Most people don't get into the things that they love because they deeply love them and care about them. Sometimes they do it just to escape a problem. Yeah, you go to the thing to make you feel good so you don't have to worry about the shit around you, rather than letting that thing feel good because you dealt with the shit around you. Like for me, for instance, when I play a video game after I do the shit that's important, man, that shit fucking hits. It is like dopamine reward. It feels so fucking good to do something really hard and difficult and then be rewarded for that by playing a video game after. However, in contrast, when I'm playing a video game to not do this thing, it feels like shit. Yeah, I'm having fun, but it sucks too. Because I'm so busy thinking about the thing I want to do that I feel like crap. So that's kind of this chapter. It's essentially that element. But there's a little more. I'm going to read a little bit of what I wrote. So, in particular, this is the Raging intentionally continues the girlfriend and the school bag. So if you guys remember, this is chapter 400. This is from chapter 400. Reiji is intentionally continuing that arc. Why? If you guys remember what I said about chapter 400, it's about Kazuya and Mami sharing something. They have commonalities in those chapters, intentionally so. This chapter also has that. So the title I wanted to make my analysis for this chapter was A Shared Divide. We share something, and that is the thing that ironically divides us. So think of it like this. We all are super connected these days. We all have access to technology. All of us have access to Twitter. We all follow each other and all that stuff. And yet in our phones, we're literally disconnected from each other. Right? I'm not talking to you in person. Like this is more of a connection thing. Like when I'm doing on YouTube and I read chat and I talk to you guys, this is more of a connection thing. But it could easily become disconnected where I'm not actually listening to what you're saying, nor do I care what you're saying. In that same way, a lot of us are on our phones. Our phones are what connect us, yet they are also what divide us. Reiji perfectly shows this in Chizuru's birthday, right? I'll just show you the pictures just really quick. It's like a literal visual storytelling that Reiji goes for in that arc. It's the thing that divides us. We're all so connected these days, yet we've become so individualistic that we're almost bordering on narcissists. If not straight up, we're just becoming narcissists. People these days are so focused on like this. How do I put it? Like, we're so focused on what we want and our perception of the world and how we're looking at things that we literally become divided as people. People, like, for instance, this is something people will do. When someone like has anxiety, what they'll do is, rather than realize the anxiety is coming from themselves, and yes, this thing might have made them feel uncomfortable, they'll put the blame on this person, right? Rather than say, hey, this made me feel anxious, they'll say, you made me feel anxious. It's as if it's your fault, and they'll project their blame onto you. A lot of predators and abusers, what they did is that, so people are acknowledging that they're starting to acknowledge victims, right? We're starting to listen to victims. So what do? They take the victim dialogue and they weaponize it. So what they start doing is they're like, oh, you made me feel this way. You're terrible for this. So suddenly you start feeling like an abuser when you didn't do anything. And then that becomes this looping cycle where the very nature of us listening to victims has been weaponized against victims. And it literally turns into victim blaming. Literally what Minnie does. Literally verbatim what Minnie does. And she doesn't know she's doing this. She's so self-absorbed in her perceptions that she's literally victim blaming Kazuya and Chizuru and doesn't realize she's doing this. She's literally weaponized these things and does not realize she's doing this. She's literally starting to mirror mommy. So, a good example of this that happens is on Chizuru's birthday. Chizuru's birthday very much hits this like nail on the fucking head, like in the hardest way possible. So on Chizuru's birthday, during her play, they make her a cake. They get her this fancy cake, and they want to celebrate her. We start with Chizuru, and we get to the cover. Who do we see? We see Sumi. It's Chizuru's birthday, and she's not on the cover. If this is not brilliant, I don't know what fucking is. It's her birthday, and she's not on the cover. He's literally telling you how this is going to play out. So what happens? She thanks them. They're all fancy and pretty. They're all saying stuff. Chizuru goes to cut the cake. They don't let her cut the cake. Let's take a picture, okay? You're the bad person for wanting to do this thing for yourself to celebrate this birthday. You're the bad person for this. Social media addicts, it's picture time. Instead of cutting the cake and giving a shit about Chizuru, they all take pictures. They all get on their phones. Their eyes turn black. And Chizuru looks at the cake, and suddenly it doesn't matter anymore. A hashtag. What hashtag are you using? A hashtag matters more than her. She stands a sole figure as everyone else is on their phones. They're literally connected. They're literally all connected in the thing that they're doing. And yet every single one of them is divided. Not a single one of them is actually talking to the other person. And this thing they told Chizuru they were doing, it showed they didn't even give a shit about her. In contrast, you cut to Sasumi, Minnie, and Kazuya. Kazuya hadn't seen Sumi in a while. Sumi has a cake to celebrate Chizuru. And what does Sumi realize here? Kazuya-kun and Chizuru are living in the same house. He doesn't care about her. But it's kind of self-imposed. She removed herself from his life. So whereas Chizuru is in an environment that abuses her kindness and goodwill, and she was just expecting better, and she got hurt for it, isolated for it. Sumi feels a similar isolation, and yet it's in many ways self-imposed, and she's being reminded of the choice she made. She kind of doesn't like it. She doesn't like that she's so far away from him. She doesn't like that he's not looking at her, he's looking away from her. Okay, you cut to Chizuru. They try to invite her out. Chizuru doesn't go. Look at these girls hanging out, but Chizuru doesn't matter. Right? They invite her, they say all sorts of stuff, but clearly they don't understand her. What do you see with Miho? Her eyes are closed. She literally doesn't see Chizuru. She's invisible to her. She doesn't see her. Chizuru goes home and she checks social media and she sees these likes and these things. They're so wonderful. You really love your friends, don't you? Sure. Right? Yeah, they sure do love her. Chizuru feels exhausted. This clearly annoys her. Right? That they're not friends. They're not friends, and yet everyone's telling her, "Oh, you should, you guys are friends. You're great." We're not friends. And Chizuru feels like a bad person for feeling this way. You cut to Chizuru's birthday, right? Okay. Cut to Chizuru's birthday. She agrees to the party. Sumi talks to her. Sumi sees her. Cheers. We're having fun. Oh, look. A bunny with carrots. This is about desire, not just simply loneliness. Chizuru is literally drinking from something she desired. She wanted to do this. She did secretly want a party, but she didn't feel like she was allowed to. Yet everyone else wanted it, so she's like, okay, fine, let's do it. Okay, right? She'd be ruining the mood by not doing it. Okay? She gets the cake, it's a little smushed. Sumi's like, oh no, it sucks, right? Oh, right, let's cut it, don't worry about it. Chizuru eats it. It's great. She made Sumi feel better. She fulfilled Sumi's desire. Okay? Kazuya sees a gift that Chizuru got from her coworkers. What does he say? We set up an impromptu thing and forced her on her. Now I'm actually worried whether she really enjoyed it. I don't know. Did she or did she not? Dude, she clearly enjoys it. Why are you comparing yourself to her coworkers? What if her coworkers fucking suck? Never crosses his mind. Right? She didn't mention it. She didn't say anything. And here she is having a good time. She has a conflict with Minnie where Minnie seemingly doesn't see her. Right? Minnie's so focused on what she's saying, she doesn't see her. Minnie says, doesn't it feel weird like turning someone's birthday party into some sort of cheap festival? Chizuru's like, oh my God. Now Minnie is looking at her, but Minnie's blind. I don't think I want to use someone else's birthday for something like that. It shows that Minnie, underneath, is a very compassionate soul. But that's underneath, unfortunately. She doesn't see Chizuru in this moment when she says, a birthday party is not something for someone else to celebrate, but a way to show how grateful you are that someone has been born into this world. When Minnie says this, her eyes are closed. She wants to show gratitude to Chizuru, but she doesn't see her. It's a paradox. This is Minnie showing gratitude to Chizuru, but she doesn't truly fully see her. Her eyes are literally closed. It's a paradox. Okay? I'm sure Master feels the same way. Kazuya comes in. Kazuya didn't see this moment. He literally didn't see this moment. What are you saying? You sit right there. Right? Taking charge. Everyone's valuing her, caring about her. She doesn't feel alone. She's getting what she desires. She's getting friends and family who care about her. And Reiji intentionally shows a visual motif here, if you pay attention. Sumi's phone, Chizuru's phone, Kazuya's phone, Minnie's phone. Every single one is down. Not a single one of them is up. Everyone is looking at each other. 2 of them are blind. 2 of them have their eyes open. Minnie doesn't see Chizuru despite literally facing her. Sumi doesn't see Minnie despite literally looking at her. And Kazuya can see Sumi. But he's not fully facing Chizuru. They're looking at each other. Everyone's having a good time. And what does Chizuru see? Chizuru sees everybody. You literally see what Chizuru sees. Almost like an objective view. She truly values everyone around her. She sees everyone around her and how much they care about her. You're literally seeing her eyes. You're seeing the truth. She's seeing the truth. And she smiles. In shadows, she closes her eyes. She knows she sees the truth, and she can close her eyes comfortably. She can smile and close her eyes. So, this motif of phones and getting trapped in these illusions. Did you notice how when we read Kazuya earlier, he was literally in an illusion? In the moment, he's having a good time. In the moment, he's connected to Chizuru. And yet, past that moment, that divide immediately returns. When he's with Chizuru, he's in that moment. The moment he gets out of that moment with Chizuru, he disappears somewhere else. So this motif of, like, how do I describe it? This shared divide is very intentional, right? There's this thing that we all share that's actually literally dividing us. So I wrote a few stuff. Let me read what I wrote. It's almost about an hour. I have like 10 minutes left, so I'll kind of blitz through this. This arc is a continuation of chapter 400 and 401, which were called The Girlfriend and the School Bag. This was something you see both Kazuya and Mami share. So, pulling up chapter 400. Again, they're literally sharing something, right? In the first part, not only is this both their first time here at this place, this becomes a repeating motif in this. Not only is this their first time here at the driver's school, it's also the same time, and they are both third years. It's too good to be true, right? Almost like it's fate. This is a repeating motif of the series. Moments of too good to be true, presented as though it were fate, yet perfectly reflective of the failures of the characters. Their inability to confront themselves ultimately led them back to each other. Kazuya ignored his driver's license just as he ignored his school. Ruka himself, just as he ignored his school, Ruka, and himself. His promise to his mom that he also ignored during the cohabitation with Chizuru, and of course even Chizuru herself, which led him on a collision course with Mami. For she was the start of and the current source of his unaddressed issues. Kazuya knows what Mami did, yet willfully turns a blind eye in favor of how he wishes to see her. This reflects the irony of how he sees himself and how he sees Chizuru, and even everyone around him. Kazuya does not see himself honestly, willfully turning a blind eye to what he learned in the beginning because it contradicts the narrative he tells himself. He said he saw how similar him and Chizuru were, despite him seemingly coming from a different world. Yet now he doubles down on this thought process. Her and I are from 2 different worlds. He looks at Umi, he says the same thing. Him and I are from 2 different worlds, viewing himself as fundamentally different from both of them. In fact, digging deeper than just their words, but their genders and appearances. If you go to chapter 401, what does Kazuya say in chapter 401? Right? This is also in the school bag chapters. When Mami steps away, Kazuya says, "Damn it, there really must be some kind of law that beautiful people have to be mysterious. It's true." Right? Beautiful people are mysterious Because of this divide that he has convinced himself exists, he does not see himself or the world around him as his loved ones do. He is still a failure who needs to improve even now. And his insistent need to change, and in his insistent need to change, he is destroying himself and in reality stagnating. He's not actually changing. Mommy is much the same. She does not want to look at herself or her surroundings honestly. She would rather turn a blind eye. This is visually conveyed to you in her talking about his hair, but not knowing why he changed his hair. She says his hair looks good, but she doesn't know the true motivation of why he changed his hair, which is that he desires to be loved visually, right? He desires to be physically desired. So he changes his hair. She would rather turn a blind eye to Chizuru because it is easier than confronting how much she hurt her. This results in her ultimately being reminded of her words nonstop. What do you see at the very end of the chapter? At the very end of the chapter, most readers, including Japanese fans, interpret it as Chizuru's words coming back to haunt her. And yet, who's actually being haunted by these words? Like, literally, who's actually being haunted by these words? It's Mommy. The words are literally haunting her. You think these words are haunting Chizuru. In reality, they're haunting Mommy. Okay? They're constantly reminding her, hey, there's this thing you keep fucking ignoring. Be honest about yourself. Why are you doing this? Be honest about yourself. Why the fuck are you doing this? Okay? This results in her ultimately being reminded of Chizuru's words nonstop. And it's ironic that she comes to the conclusion that she is in love and acts like she is in love because what Mommy truly desires is not love, but freedom. Freedom to live and freedom to love. And that is what she is pretending to have here. She is letting herself be in love with Kazuya under the delusion that he loves her and that she will actually have a choice in the matter in her current circumstances. This is central. They share the school bag and they share these delusions, and yet they cannot see that this is actually what is dividing them. For neither of them is willing to be honest about what they actually want. Mommy doesn't have a choice here. She's telling herself, oh, I love Kazuya, I want to be with Kazuya, yet she doesn't actually have the freedom to choose. It is not her choice. Even if she actually liked him, she doesn't have a choice in the matter. And until she addresses that, she will never have a choice in the matter. So it doesn't matter if she loves Kazuya, she can't be with him. She expects him to solve that problem. He's not going to be able to solve this problem. This is her problem. She has to solve it. Now, she can reach out for help. This isn't to say she can't get support. But Kazuya is not solving this problem for her. That is the delusion and lie and simulation of this chapter. You are given the false premise. You want to believe in this, oh, so wonderful false premise that Mommy could love Kazuya. Yet it doesn't fucking matter. Cool, you love him. Your family isn't going to fucking let you. Your dad's going to do the same thing. He might even do more. But she doesn't care. She wants to escape. It's so much easier to escape into what you desire than it is to face the actual conflict of your life. Mommy would rather not go into the unknown, but return to something she knows. The unknown is not something to fear. Death, in simple terms, is the darkness of the unknown. Right? That is what death is. It is the darkness of the unknown. You don't know you don't know what happens when you die. And in accepting that unknown, you can make change. In not being afraid into going into the unknown, you can make change. What is Kazuya doing? What is Mommy doing? They are going to things that are familiar, stagnant, calm, safe. Mommy isn't going into the unknown of dealing with her family and her conflicts. Instead, what's she doing? She's going to Kazuya, something she had before, something that made her feel safe before, something that let her escape her problems. He's a video game. In fact, at the time, I never would have said there was anything wrong with this. Things have been this way ever since I was little. With Mom's old phone, I could at least see my friends. I was just connecting the red and yellow smiley faces, but it kept me busy. The only thing my dad didn't account for is that even a good pet can feel the burning desire to be free. Okay? What is she doing? She's playing games. Okay. What do we later see Mommy do? Chapter 309. Mommy runs into Chizuru and Nagomi. What is Mommy doing? She's at the arcade, completely alone, playing a crane game. She's literally escaping her problems. She goes and looks for Kazuya, but doesn't address Chizuru at all. Never even talks to her. She sees Kazuya isn't here and just leaves. So what would you have done if he was there? What was the plan? Right? She looks for him and he's not there. What was the plan there, buddy? What were you going to do if you found him? Right? Well, what was the idea here? Like, let's say you found him. What were you planning to do? She's literally looking for her escape mechanism, and he's not there. She can't look at him and dream. She can't look at him and keep believing in this fantasy that's going to solve her magical problems. Even though, right, he's with them, right? Even though he's not with them, even though she doesn't see him, even if he was with them, like it would seemingly confirm the thing she wanted. Like, Mommy would have stalked him here. I'm gonna be real, she would have fucking followed them. And if Kazuya and Chizuru looked happy, she would have been depressed, she would have been sad. She's literally her escape. Him not being here is literally, in some ways, validating her escape. That's what Kazuya is to Mommy. He's a video game. He is an escape mechanism. Just as Minnie escapes into YouTube or videos or anime. A lot of the times, these beautiful things that can enlighten our world end up merely acting as an escape mechanism for us. And what tends to happen is, because they're an escape mechanism, we don't appreciate them for what they are. So, for instance, I didn't really appreciate Kingdom Hearts for what it was when I was younger, because it literally was just an escape mechanism for me. And this isn't to say it didn't help me. It absolutely did. I think escape mechanisms can offer us a lot of comfort in the world. But the problem is, they can't stay an escape mechanism forever. That's the problem with escape mechanisms. It's okay to have them. You're not a bad person for having them. There's nothing wrong with you having coping or escape mechanisms. That's not the issue. The issue is, there's going to come a point where they cannot stay an escape mechanism, where you can't keep running away. It's going to catch up. And this is what's happening here. This is reality. This is life catching up. You're running out of time. You don't have any more time left. This, I think, is the real theme of this arc. This arc is about change. That how nothing lasts forever. This was perfectly shown in the characters living together, and now they're separated and not talking. I literally said this when we got chapter 390 and we kept seeing the characters being separated, I literally started, like, Reiji was literally telling us from the start, this is the theme of this arc. You can't keep wasting any more time. So what does he do? He has Kazuya waste time in a very particular way that will fucking irritate you. He has the characters Kazuya and Chizuru and Minnie wasting time in particular, he's making you think Chizuru is wasting time, whereas Kazuya and Minnie are the ones doing it. He has characters wasting time in a very particularly annoying way that can bug you. And that's contrasted by these crazy events that are happening, like what Ruka did, or what Mami did, or what Umi did. These events contrast this stalling. And this creates this very, how do I describe it? It's a very effective storytelling motif because it's literally like constantly moving. It feels like something that's like clashing with itself, and it's literally like it feels like really sensitive and like it's gonna explode at any moment. Like literally think of it like a very like very sensitive bomb that can just explode at any moment. Because you have this stalling that fundamentally contrasts with the change that's happening. So the changes that are occurring in the story are so massive, contrasted by this consistent stalling. And because that change is so intense, so visceral, that the stalling just like mashes into itself. And it feels like you're banging your head against the wall. This makes for a very effective story motif because Reiji can do the stalling that Kazuya is like, because the stalling is part of the narrative. The stalling is literally intentionally part of the narrative. He's not stalling to waste your time. He's stalling to showcase Kazuya's unwillingness to change. He's showing this to show Minnie's unwillingness to change and how they instead want you to conform. And if you conform, you fit in with their perception of what change looks like. As an exact mirror to how these people at the very beginning of the chapter, instead of recognizing that Kazuya might need help, instead of seeing how he doesn't fit in with their perception that he shouldn't be on the road, they don't help him get better to be on the road. They don't try to ease his worries to be on the road. They literally just act like he doesn't fit in. He's a weirdo. He doesn't belong. So instead of helping him fit in, instead of helping him get better on this thing, they isolate him. Mami tries to do this, but Mami can't do this because she's the very reason he's even isolated in the first place. She is the source. So she could never actually help him actually connect. She merely looks like she is. And that is literally the whole idea of this arc, is like this fundamental divide, while at the same time our inability to change, and how when we want someone to change, we want them to change in a very particular way. There's only a certain kind of way we're okay with you changing. We don't want you changing in a way we can't accept. We want you to change in a very particular way. So you have this insane change that's happening in the story, contrasted by Kazuya trying to change in a very particular way, instead of just accepting change as it is, rather than trying to create change in a very particular kind of way. Those two things are clashing. It's literally unnatural change versus natural change. Because what is nature? Nature is change. Okay. Kazuya would have no... so let's see here. How nothing lasts... Okay, so this arc is about change. How nothing lasts forever. This was perfectly shown in the characters living together and now separated and not talking. Kazuya would have no idea if something happened to Chizuru. She could disappear from his life forever at any moment, and he would be powerless to stop it. This fear is perfectly showcased in chapter 396, when he was terrified of having her be taken by Umi, finally choosing to act when feeling that fear again, when letting himself experience his emotions instead of bottling them in. And we're seeing the end approach. This mirrors the theme of grief and acceptance. As Chizuru has suffered more loss than anyone, and is willing to let Kazuya go if it means he is happy, literally sacrificing herself and her desires for him. She has accepted loss, no matter how painful, having gone through actual death, and in so doing, she's willing to actually let him go. Ruka, in contrast, wants change. Ruka also wants change, literally killing the relationship with Kazuya without realizing it because she's so desperate for something to fucking change. Mami wants change too, yet creates her own matrix like Kazuya. Minnie desires change but loops events, intentionally trying to make them go the way she wants them to go. That's the only change she will accept, exactly mirrored by Kazuya's unwillingness to accept himself. Sumi is trapped in her own matrix of inaction despite having all the power to make the change she desires, letting others decide for her. Even Kazuya's family is leaving him alone and letting him live his life despite wanting to be more in his life, reflecting their own death in a sense. They're literally not in his life anymore. They're literally not present and don't actually influence him in any way, shape, or form anymore. Nothing lasts forever. Not relationships, not rent-a-girlfriend, not even a simulation. That is the true theme of this arc. The end. And we can see how Kazuya can't accept the end. For in accepting the end, we can truly begin to appreciate our life for what it is worth. The time we do have, the people that are in it. Kazuya's journey is about letting Chizuru go in order to actually be with her. What does Kazuya say in this chapter? He literally says it in this chapter. I can't let Chizuru go. I can't give up on her. I can't give up on Mizuhara. That would feel just as bad. His journey is about accepting he needs to let her go in order to actually be with her. And what did Minnie say? When you invest too much, you can't give up. And yet you still must. It's all the much harder to give up after trying for so hard, but then you must also still do that. You have to be willing to let go in order to actually get the thing that you want. Right? And think of it like this. Let's look at it from a YouTuber's perspective. What do artists often tell you? Just make it. Don't try to make it perfect, just make it. You have to let go of the idea of perfection in order to actually get that point that you desire. You'll never reach that perception of perfection unless you just let go of perfection. You won't become an artist unless you let go of this idea that you have to be a perfect artist. Let it go first in order to actually have it. It's literally exactly Kazuya's issue. Okay. Kazuya's journey is about letting Chizuru go in order to actually be with her. It is about letting Mami go, letting Ruka go. Let the end just occur naturally instead of keeping it living dead. For everything changes. Change is nature. And Kazuya is not letting characters change in his unwillingness to change himself. This is the story looping because Kazuya wants it to loop, despite saying he wants a relationship. He has trapped himself in a self-imposed matrix, mirrored by Mami, Ruka, Minnie, and in some sense even Sumi. The stagnant calm stops them from truly changing, and as if breaking the chains of the stagnant calm stops them from truly changing, and as if breaking the chains of its prison by force, change occurs simply by the characters existing now. That's it. All they need to do is merely exist, and change just naturally occurs. This is perfectly reflected in Umi merely just texting to Kazuya to talk, and it made Kazuya actually act. Umi's existence literally just triggered change for Kazuya. He didn't even do anything. He was fucking rejected and called Kazuya. And that alone, his mere existence triggered change. In that same way, Ruka just being herself and doing what Ruka does triggered change. right? Ruka tried to, or sorry, Umi didn't force change. He just did it and it happened. Ruka tried to force change. And ironically, it stagnated more, and yet it's actually causing a ripple effect that's resulting in more change. Because Ruka did what she did, it ultimately resulted in Kazuya becoming a little more in tune with his desires, despite them literally fighting him. So now he's starting to feel these desires more as he interacts with Mami. He's starting to feel these emotions that Chizuru is feeling. He literally can't control his emotions anymore. He can't bottle them in anymore. They're literally just coming out. He has no control over them anymore. So literally, her actions actually resulted in change, just not change she can visibly see. Ruka wanted change for herself. It resulted in change for Kazuya. That's the irony. Okay? Their very habits trigger the change they condition themselves to avoid. It's just natural now. Kazuya falls on Mami not by accident, but because of the same exact conditioning. It's that same exact thing that has happened before. His own negligence of the world around him. He is like someone trying to remain a kid in an adult world. And the world doesn't care how you feel. Your actions will result in this outcome whether you wish for it or not, simply because of your own habits. You did this merely just because you didn't change. Therefore, your unwillingness to change resulted in change. That is just nature. Nature literally breaks the matrix because of the basis of the matrix being a lack of change, while the basis of nature literally is change. In the matrix choosing not to change, it is literally resulting in its own change. They run counter to each other, able to coexist for a small time, but not forever, exactly like a coping mechanism. Much like how Kazuya's cohabitation with Chizuru was never going to last because it too was built on a matrix coexisting with life. It was bound to break in that paradox, and only once the matrix breaks can Kazuya truly live and be with Chizuru. I feel like I'm cooking pretty good stuff here. Simulation. This was the teaser for chapter 415, and the simulation is the theme. The whole chapter is but a simulation, a perfect imitation of the real thing that follows the data taken from the past chapters and perfectly inputting them into the present ones to give us this perception of love. You were fooled, gaslit, and manipulated by the story, because it gave you all the things you believed constituted love and relationships. This is sexy, it's spicy, it has tension, it's intimacy. But this is exactly like an AI that you feed information into, and it replicates what you desire. From the ground up, this chapter is but a simulation of past chapters, not actually giving you anything new. Everything here is expertly taken from past events, formulated into a model, and presented in a way that intentionally fools readers that they are getting what they desire, perfectly simulating love, exactly as rental is practice for a real relationship, or a driving simulation is practice for the road, but also how a simulation can be a trap for the mind, where everything we experience in the real world can be simulations of our own making. Trapped in illusions of growing up. That we're not actually growing up, we're just tricking ourselves, telling ourselves that we're growing up. This is a reflection and deconstruction of modern society. Despite the ease of technology, more people are alienated and individualistic, as reflected in the bystanders being very dismissive of Kazuya, even though they make a valid point. So, right, they're making a valid point about Kazuya, but they're also being incredibly dismissive of him and not actually trying to connect to him. Yeah, you see a problem in front of you, but you don't try to solve it, you just treat it as a problem. So Kazuya is just a problem to these people. He's not someone to help, he's just a problem. He's something in the way. We can't, this is the issue with this chapter. It essentially says, we can't escape our programming. We are trapped in a repeating cycle, always following the right steps, acting appropriately, thinking we understand something when we do not, controlled by our subconscious, literally what Kazuya says. What does he say? My deep subconscious is leaking into my dreams. He's literally controlled by his subconscious mind. The thing that should just be subconscious to him is now literally controlling him. But we are controlled by our subconscious, by our own feelings, even by our past. We are but slaves in a simulation, unable to escape the matrix we have trapped ourselves in. Mommy thinks she understands Kazuya's pain. That's what she does here. She thinks she's understanding Kazuya's pain, trying to ease his tension, trying to ease what she perceives to be his loneliness. Yet the irony is that she is the very reason he feels so alone, not seeing the true reason Kazuya is alone despite opening her eyes. She doesn't see his internal loneliness, she merely sees his external loneliness. Trapped in her own matrix, just as Kazuya is trapped in a matrix of his desires. Both of them see what they want to see. In our matrix, in our pain, we only see the weakness and ugliness of others. We don't see how beautiful that part of them can be. How others long for help and just want to be seen. How others wish to be heard and understood. To be seen for who they are and not simply their shortcomings, but also to not deny that same exact weakness, for it is as much a part of them as their strength. And so the issue becomes here is that when people like Kazuya, who are at the moment without family, without advocates, and without anyone to question what they're going through, no one will truly understand them. And what has Kazuya essentially been doing this whole time? He's isolated. He's alone. He has nobody who helps him, and the person he goes to, who he's seemingly around, who's trying to help him, is literally his abuser. Oh, you're the abuser, and now you've grown a conscience. You want to do a little better, except you didn't actually address anything that you did wrong. You know? So what is happening with Kazuya here? He's literally going back to his abuser. Mommy hurt him like hell. And now it looks cute. Oh, it looks so cute now. She's literally his fucking abuser. This is so fucking twisted. This is so fucking twisted. That mommy is trying to escape her issues and trying to be with Kazuya despite the fact that she's the reason he feels this way. She is literally the reason he even feels this way. She's the source. She did this. And she's acting like, oh, it's the people around you who did this. Why do you think Reiji makes very particular references to past mommy incidences? In particular, he references the Beast chapter, which, what happened there? Oh, that's right. She made Kazuya look like a cheater. She kissed him behind Chizuru's back. Just as Ruka did the same thing recently. Oh, look, it's like mommy did it first. Then there's the opening page. This right here, this is a direct reference to Hawaiians. This is literally a direct reference to Hawaiians. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? It's a direct reference to Hawaiians. Not even subtle. It's almost like mommy is the reason he feels this way, and she's acting like everyone else is doing it. She's acting all girly and cute and weak, when she is probably the most ferocious person here and easily the most fucking destructive. But she doesn't want to address that about herself. She doesn't want to be the abuser in the picture. It's so much easier to pretend like it's not our fault. Yeah. So this arc is literally about change. This chapter is a simulation. The whole point of this chapter is that every character is trapped in their own simulation. Mommy is acting like she is the good girl in the picture when she is in reality the true villain here. And she just doesn't want to address it in herself. This mirrors Kazuya, who is trapped in his own matrix, reenacting the things he has done with Chizuru in the past and not realizing how he's, just going back to his abuser and how he's the villain in the picture with Chizuru. How he's the reason the relationship isn't working out, because what's happening here, all these other relationships are happening. All these other relationships with Kazuya are doing their thing. Yet, for some reason, Chizuru isn't working out. Isn't that weird? Right? All these other relationships are working out, so you think, oh, it must be Chizuru's fault. Right? There's something wrong with Chizuru. So you make a false correlation. You think, well, Kazuya with every other girl is working out, so why isn't Chizuru? But then you think to yourself, well, wait. Every other girl Kazuya doesn't want to be with, but the one person he wants to be with, it's not working. It's almost like he's taking action with all these other people who he doesn't care for, but the one person he wants to be with, he doesn't take action with her. Huh. Oh, suddenly you're like, oh, it's a false correlation. Your brain is literally misattributing the problem to Chizuru merely because she is the variable you think doesn't fit. This is called I forgot. There's like two different types of reasoning. It's not deductive reasoning. It's like is it inductive? I think it's inductive. I just gotta double check. Yeah, it's inductive reasoning. I think. Inductive reasoning refers to a variety of methods of reasoning in which conclusions of an argument is supported not with deductive certainty, but at best with some degree of probability. So this isn't deductive reasoning, what I'm describing, it's inductive reasoning, where unlike deductive reasoning, such as a mathematical induction, where the conclusion is certain, given the premise are correct, inductive reasoning produces conclusions that are at best probable, given the evidence provided. It's not deductive, it's not accurate, it's merely the thing that looks like it's right. It's just inductive reasoning. Wow, good thing I remembered the shit I learned. Look at me remembering shit from school. Look at me remembering shit from school. Yeah, so literally what's happening here is that you're falling under the false pretense that because of your inductive reasoning, oh, Chizuru is the variable that does not line up, therefore it must be Chizuru's fault. In reality, you're seeing all these other relationships work with all these other girls, but Chizuru isn't so different from them, so what's the problem? The problem is Kazuya himself. He is the source, but because of your inductive reasoning, Chizuru must be the problem. That's what you don't realize. Because it's happening, all these things are happening with these other girls, they don't have an issue. But guess what? They all result in him getting hurt. Not a single one of these resulted in something good. With Ruka, she literally became an abuser and Kazuya was sexually assaulted. With Mommy, it looks great on surface level, she's literally his fucking abuser. She's hiding the fact that she talked mad shit behind his back, intentionally tried to sabotage his relationship, and literally almost destroyed his entire relationship with his family. Yeah, conveniently just ignoring that fact, are we? Right? So all these relationships are seemingly working out, and yet they're so fucking destructive. Right? He is the architect of his own destruction. In that same way, that's kind of Sumi. Sumi is also somewhat the architect of her own destruction because she literally wrote herself out of the story. She literally chose not to tell Kazuya her feelings. So, Sumi would probably be the final straw, I think, because Mommy has that, Ruka has negative actions, Mommy has her negative past, Sumi, what's the negativity? Sumi's negativity is her own inaction. So Sumi is literally a perfect reflection of Kazuya's conflict. Sumi literally hits the nail on the head. She is literally a character of inaction. So therefore, Sumi would naturally be the final conflict. I think Sumi would probably be the straw that broke the camel's back. I think she might end up being the trigger you don't consider. Did that rhyme? The trigger you don't consider. Trigger, consider. Oh, okay, yeah. So I guess that kind of rhymed. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm going to call it here. Again, I was going to do a short stream. These are my rough thoughts. Nothing too crazy. These are just my rough thoughts. That I read to you guys most of what I wrote. I would like to write a proper analysis. I'll see if I can do it tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get some good sleep so I can do it tomorrow. What are the odds that Kazuya breaks down and cries to mommy? Low. It's more likely she would cry to him, which would be incredibly fucked up because mommy is literally his abuser and now she's venting to him about her pain. Cool, what about the pain you inflicted on him? Cool. No, I literally said my theory for next chapter is that mommy's gonna tell him what she went through, because it's a direct mirror to when Chizuru told Kazuya to close the door, and then she tells him what she went through. Key difference is Chizuru apologized. Chizuru actually made amends, and she was merely explaining what she was going through and why she chose to take her actions. But she made amends first. She said sorry. She stepped up. She talked to him first. Then she explained herself. She was willing to tell him what she was going through and that she was going to give him some sort of answer. This will probably be the opposite. Mommy's going to tell him what she's going through, but she's not going to give him any answers. In particular, the answer mommy would probably need to give is that why did she break up with him? So maybe that could be revealed. That could be in some way, shape, or form, like attached to this in some way. I think next chapter might be connected to chapter 164, which, by the way, guess what? What is chapter 164? Because chapter 416 is next week. Right, chapter 416 is next week. Who remembers what chapter 464 is? It's the chapter none of you fuckers shut the fuck up about. It's the chapter none of you fuckers shut the fuck up about. Oh, look. Who's crying to who? Chizuru's crying to Kazuya. And they share in this pain. Kazuya cries with her. We might get some sort of twisted version of this, where mommy maybe tells Kazuya about what she's been going through with her family, which is absolutely possible. And then you're like, oh, and then, you know, there's that undertone of like, wait, but what about what mommy fucking did to him? What about how mommy's been trying to sabotage his relationship this whole fucking time, and in fact, she's technically succeeding right now? Are we just not going to talk about that? Oh, how about this? Oh, look, chapter 146 is when Grandma Sayuri collapsed. And we got hints that mommy's grandma also died. And there's that inherent connection. But mommy says in her backstory that when her teddy bear was taken away from her, it hurt her more than when her grandma died. Huh. So, yeah, I think next chapter might be mommy, like, telling Kazuya about what she's going through, except I'm, like, breaking down and sharing something with him. I think it'll just be for herself. I think next chapter is going to be mommy being very selfish. Whereas in chapter 241 with Chizuru, when she tells him to close the door, she's actually being incredibly selfless. Right, so when Chizuru tells him to close the door in chapter 241, what does she tell him? She asks, can I sit down? She asks permission for everything. She sits down. She explains. She tells him her feelings. Oh, that's why she was observing the surroundings so scrupulously, even closing the door. She's worried about Ruka. It wasn't just about her. Why does mommy want to close the door? It's about her. Next chapter is going to be incredibly selfish. It is not going to be Kazuya. Look, if you think Kazuya is going to get some sort of resolution or some sort of good ending from Mommy, you are deluded. You are trapped in a simulation. I'm telling you right now, if you think Mommy is going to solve any of Kazuya's problems, you are deluding yourself. I have said this from the start. Mommy is not solving any of his problems. And she is the source of them. She is the reason he feels this way. This chapter intentionally nods to that, like not even subtly. Just outright, hey, look at all these references to all these things. Hey, referencing chapter 10, referencing chapter 241, referencing the Hawaiians arc, referencing when Kazuya and Chizuru fell on top of each other for the first time, and oh look, Mommy was there. Every single time, Mommy caused an issue. She's literally the fucking source. She's not solving his problems. And the story is like outright, like it literally giving you the subtext in front of your fucking face that she is the source and she's not going to help him. She is the reason he feels this way. And even if she gives him some modicum of closure over the fact that she didn't reject him because of him, but because of her family, that's still incredibly shitty. Why? Because, oh, I dated you, I was with you, but I rejected you because of my family. Is that how much? Why the fuck did you even date me then if you were never serious? So what, I was just a toy to you? Right? But Kazuya won't look at it that way. She'll be like, oh my god, she didn't reject me. She actually always cared about me. But you know, her family mattered more. Right? The family thing that's hanging over her head, that mattered more. That was harsher for her. Right? Rather than trusting me and telling me about that and being honest about this, she hid it. She broke up with me, never told me, made me feel like shit. And then she goes and tells me afterwards, years later, literally 2 years later, then she tells me when we're not together and I'm in love with someone else because I have my own fucking, like literally, right? Like if that's if Kazuya had some like modicum of self respect and care for himself, but he doesn't. He doesn't value himself. He doesn't care about himself, so he'll probably look at it in a very positive way. Most of the readers will probably look at it in a very positive way too. Not realizing the fucked up subtext. That, ayo, like, she treated you like crap, dude. Like, she actually treated you like garbage. And you shouldn't just sit down and take that. Right? But that's not how Kazuya is going to look at it. That's the issue. He's not going to look at it this way. And most readers probably will not. I think if Mommy tells him the truth, Kazuya will take it positively. And be like, oh my god, she always liked me, blah, blah, blah. But then what that will also do is kind of disrupt his equilibrium of his self-perception. Okay, so if Mommy always liked you from the start, there was nothing wrong with you. You don't have to fix anything. You're not broken. Oh, you're fine just the way that you are. Oh, look, you don't need to change. Suddenly, some of Kazuya's guilt is removed. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't fuck up. Do you see how Mommy telling him the truth would act as an escapism? There's so many ways that what Mommy could do could result in a form of escapism for him. And it's baffling to me that people think Mommy will somehow fix this. They're not going to bond. They're not going to share as much as you think. They might form like some sort of connection, right? They're going to form some sort of connection, but it's not going to be what you think it is. It's going to be flawed and built on lies. And that's the problem, is like when those lies come true, when those lies reveal themselves, it's going to crash so fast. But that's exactly what needs to happen. If Kazuya is ever going to repair his relationship with Mommy, it needs to crash first. Then it can truly begin to heal. So that's the only way I could ever see Mommy and Kazuya's relationship healing. Not like romantically, just in general. It has to fall apart first. And I mean like actually crash. Because it hasn't. They've just been stalling. And the moment their relationship actually breaks, like actually fucking shatters, boom. I never said she would fix it, but more fuel to the fire. No, I'm not saying you are. I didn't say. I remember. I didn't say you did specifically. I merely said I said what you said. The odds of Kazuya breaking down and crying to mommy. That's not happening. But some other people were very convinced, especially when I went on Reddit. I read a few times when I read on Reddit, when I went on Twitter with some Japanese fans. A lot of them were just very convinced, like, mommy is gonna do what Chizuru couldn't. And it's baffling to me that they see an abuser and think she's the one who's gonna heal him. Like, oh yeah, the person who, like, fucking literally traumatized you, made you not value yourself, hate yourself, turned your family against you. Yeah, that person's gonna fix you. Yeah, that person is the one who's gonna heal you. Whereas the person who protected him, gave him a home, cared for his feelings, actively talked to him, actively wanted to plan her future with him, that person, she's the villain. I think Reiji is really writing an intentional thing of how we trap ourselves in our own matrix and we return to our abusers, not realize because we don't learn to value ourselves. And then once we learn the truth, once we see the truth for what it is, once we wake the fuck up and start accepting the change around us, we can start realizing how we never cared for ourselves. I think Scott Pilgrim is a story that does this quite well too. You know, like Scott's entire thing is that he literally doesn't fucking value himself. He fucking hates himself. And the entire thing is like literally him trying to get value by like dating all these girls and doing all these things. The fucking animated show they made like spells it out like to your goddamn face. But in particular, it was going through Ramona's vision because Ramona also didn't value herself. And in losing Scott, she learned to value herself. The thing is, though, just to clear that up, that's not these characters. Kazuya, in particular, is not Scott, but there is a similarity. At the very beginning of the series, Kazuya isn't like him at all. He just wasn't seen for who he was. Now, I would argue Kazuya is quite close to Scott. Like, where Kazuya is now is actually quite close to Scott. Not the same, but pretty close. He's not the same as Scott at this point, but he's pretty fucking close. It's becoming a little similar in its self-destructiveness, but in a kind of reversed way, where unlike Scott, he can have something real. Ramona isn't like, or sorry, Chizuru isn't like Ramona. She's not broken like Ramona. Ramona's pretty fucked up. You know, she's going through her own problems too that she's not addressing. And they go through a lot of things, and their relationship still doesn't fucking work because they're both not honest with themselves. If anything, Ramona and Scott Pilgrim are more akin to Mami and Kazuya. I would say it's more that, or it's more akin to Mami and Ruka, or sorry, Ruka and Kazuya, or Mami and Kazuya. That's more akin to that, not Chizuru. Because Chizuru is actually fucking atoned and taken responsibility and looked at herself honestly, whereas all the other characters are not. Anywho. So yeah, I think I'll stop here. I'll probably continue tomorrow. I'd like to get some sleep early today and then get ready for tomorrow. So we can do maybe a proper stream tomorrow and then debate what games to play and stuff. I'll read through Reddit. I'll try to finish my own writing in the background because there's still a lot more I want to write. But yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. For those who did show up, thank you for watching. I hope this was fun for you. Sorry, it's a little short because it's late. So that's everything I've got for now. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You have a good night. Take care of yourself. Get some sleep too. Or good day, wherever you are. I don't know where you are. Have a good day. Have a good day. Take care. See you guys later. And good night.